Okay, so I can definitely go over the core fear with Stephanie. I think that's a great next step for us. My sense is that her answer is probably what type of person has a thought like this. Like what does it mean about me that I think these things? So maybe we could come back to that, or do you have thoughts about that?
I mean, quite possibly. And I think that, the place that I would go with that is the place that I always really go, which is you don't really know. And all you really know is that you're having the thought. At the surface level, you can only kind of be descriptive. I like to say, at the top level is the description of the behavior or the thought or the action. And then anything else below that is kind of down the rabbit hole. Why did I have it? What does it mean? The answer to all those questions is, I don't really know.
Okay.
And I heard that with Stephanie, that she's worked on some of that. So I would apply that here too with the moral issue. Why do I have it? And sometimes there's a sort of secret self kind of concept of maybe deep down inside I'm this awful person and it's going to come forth at some point. And the answer to that, just like all the others, is, well, maybe. But right now, here's what I'm doing. And this is where then I would, come back to the present moment of I'm a teacher, I'm living with my husband and daughter, and I'm not doing those things. And okay, come back to where we are. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. I completely agree with that. Can you say more about what you would do with somebody that just really can't stop thinking about whether or not they're a terrible person and maybe thinks that it's even maybe irresponsible to have a thought like that and not figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tricky one because it gets you into, what is a person supposed to do and what are kind of some of the moral sense about what they have. And I guess I would go to, in some ways, like, first of all, you can't figure it out. And that's one of the things that I always try to focus on with OCD, that, I would go to her experience and say, we've been working on this for a really long time and trying to figure it out. Does that work for you? And this is, and it doesn't clearly, or she wouldn't be trying to do it. So, to me, and I sometimes, when I'm in session with people, I get my playing cards out and use them to represent thoughts. And I just kind of shuffle them round and round. And, working on something like this, am I a good person? What does it mean? Why do I have these thoughts? You can spend 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years on that, and there's not an answer to it. And so recognizing that it's fruitless. Just because you can ask the question and the question sort of makes sense with words doesn't mean that there's really an answer to it or anything you can do with it. And I think that understanding that there's no place to go, I'm never going to really get an answer, helps people to step away from that ruminating.
Yeah, and I think the other thing in terms of conscientious models that some people don't notice because they have so much uncertainty about it is that other people don't feel uncertain about it. It's not that they know that they're not a terrible person or the reverse. No one else knows that they're a good person. They just don't feel uncertainty about not being a good person.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Maggie. And anytime you're drilling down on a concept, you're going to get stuck. And I talk about this all the time. So what does it mean to be a good person? Well, everybody kind of knows, but if you start to really drill down on it, what does it mean? You get lost. And when you start to keep score, and this is where typically people go with OCD, and, well, I did this awful thing. Yeah, but I do this, and I'm good because of this, and I'm bad because of that. And you try to keep score. You just go round and round and round like that. And there's really no resolution to it. So I think understanding that there's not a resolution is really helpful.